In 10 years, I'm going to be a world famous musician and filmmaker, but right now I'm building a boring business helping life insurance agencies. Sounds crazy, right? Well, I'm doing it to cut out labels, investors, and contracts so I can keep 100% creative control. And if you watch till the end, I'll show you exactly how I plan to use this boring business to fund my dreams and why you should do it too. So, obviously my dream wasn't to help life insurance agencies, okay? It's to make music and film that cultivates an audience on a global scale, okay? So my goal as an artist isn't just to make art, okay? I'm looking to use it as a medium through which I can spread my philosophy and drive economic growth for my parents' home country, Cambodia. So, the stakes for me are, a lot higher, which is why I've had to think, much more critically about how I'd be able to pull this off. Because, for me, I'm looking to build a global empire, okay, not just a side project. And the more I research, I've come to realize that you have labels, investors, and contracts, okay? These are what I like to call the gatekeepers, okay? So these are the enemies that stand in my way. And now I'm not talking about, small indie labels, okay? I'm talking about the big boys, which I won't name because, I can't afford to be sued right now. But for decades, they used their capital, their monopoly over distribution, and many strategies designed to hold you hostage and control what you create, how you grow, and how much you earn. And because of this, most artists fall into two traps. So, they get burned out making, watered down art for commercial appeal, or, they go independent and struggle to reach a global scale since, they're broke and they don't know what the fuck they're doing, right? So, these gatekeepers right here exist for one reason, okay? They're going to turn your passion into profit. And they manipulate three specific levers to keep you in check, while they cash in on your life's work, all while controlling creative freedom, okay? Oh, it's an ugly M, sorry. Okay, and that's my ugly chain, okay? Creative freedom. And I'll walk you through what these three levers are and why if you can regain these three levers of control for yourself, you will never have to be a slave to the gatekeepers for as long as you fucking live, okay? Right now, before I do that, let me visualize what the actual runway looks like for high production music and film, okay? I'm not talking about GarageBand snippets, okay? Or, videos like this that are filmed on my phone. I'm talking about high impact media that shifts culture, okay? So this would be the years timeline. This is the money timeline, okay? And this solid line right here is going to be your expenses. This is how much you have to invest, okay? This is where you actually start earning, right here. So this is what the financial runway looks like, okay? So this is the money, right? Like I said, you have to put this in upfront and consistently. And this is the money you might earn, after years, if you blow up, okay? So, clearly you need a lot of money up front in order to get to this point right here. And this leads into the first lever of control, okay? First one, capital, okay? Capital, just means money. So this one's obvious, right? If you're an artist, I'm just gonna assume you're broke or else you wouldn't be watching this video, okay? So, as I showed you with the runway, you need a lot of money up front to produce high quality work, okay? So, the gatekeepers right here that are swimming in money, they wave a check and boom, right? Now they own a piece of you. So, how do we solve this problem? Pretty simple, actually. Just acquire the fucking capital yourself. And I'll show you how I plan to soon, okay? And, now you can take creative risks that don't need to be approved by anyone else. So, this means ultimate creative freedom for you because, you can do whatever you want. Okay, so number two, distribution. Okay, distribution. This is crazy because the gatekeepers used to actually help build your distribution channels for you, but now they ask for 50K followers on TikTok first. Okay, but they still keep you dependent to scale beyond that. So they're shifting the burden of risk to you. So why not you just take full control instead, right? That's the reason that I started this channel, for future distribution and of course to educate you guys. Okay, but as you can tell, I've already thought through this very strategically, which is the third lever. Strategy. Okay, so strategy is the most powerful lever. Okay, capital and distribution, those are just tools, but strategy decides how and when to use them. It's why gatekeepers take advantage of artists who don't know how to play the game. Okay, this is why they'll give you shitty contracts with terrible royalty splits because they think that you're not smart enough to figure it out, right? Guess what? At one point, they didn't know what the fuck they were doing either. So it's more than possible for you to actually turn into a strategist if you actively train that muscle in your brain. Okay, so after understanding what these three levers of control were, I realized that if I could just figure out how to gain all three of these for myself, then I can actually just retain 100% creative freedom, cut out the gatekeepers completely, and tell them to fuck off. Okay? Boom. You see, if you have capital, you control production. If you build distribution, you own your distribution channels, you own your reach. Okay? And if you master strategy, well, then you'll be fucking unstoppable, right? And that's why I decided to build a boring business first, while building this channel, of course, at the same time. Because I know that if I just focus on those two things for the next 5 to 8 years, the business will provide me the capital, this YouTube channel will provide me the audience for, initial distribution, and then both, of course, will build my strategic mindset, okay? So now you understand my reasoning, but, you might ask me, I've gotten this before, okay? You might ask me, Soriyen, why can't you just, why does it have to be boring, right? Why can't it be flashy? Oh, shit. Give me 1 second. Oh my God. Okay, sorry, I'm back. I fucked up. Okay, anyway, so like I said, why can't you run a cooler, flashy business that, is more aligned with your interests? Why can't you get into fashion or create a fitness app or, anything cooler than life insurance, right? Well, I've said before that I went to college for fashion and I realized that, it was one of the worst industries to start a business for most beginners, okay? Probably like top 5. And if I post a video in the future talking more about that, I'll put it right there, okay? But look, if I could make, $10 million in waste management, which is, literally collecting trash, I would do that, okay? For me, the money is the most important thing in this phase of my journey. So that's what I'm optimizing for. Aside from, obviously actually picking a problem that I know I can get good at solving and providing a ton of value to my customers, okay? But I'm going to tell you why I'm actually excited to build a boring okay, business selling to a boring industry. And why, if you prioritize, funding your dreams over bragging to your friends about your work, you should choose this path as well. Because there's 3 main reasons why, 9 times out of 10, you're more likely to succeed by starting the boring business versus the flashy one, okay? Number 1, and this is the most obvious thing, right? Competition, okay? So, like I said, this is obvious. So, everybody and their mom wakes up, starts acting mysterious, and posting dog shit snippets of their mixtape to their Instagram story, thinking that, they're going to be the next Playboy Cardi or Kanye, okay? Who the fuck wakes up and thinks, I want to build a boring business helping life insurance agencies, okay? Exactly. So that's why I picked it, right? These industries have real problems that need solving, but most people overlook them, which is why, if you can solve a problem for these types of industries, things like commercial cleaning, property management, trucking, supply chain and logistics, insurance, accounting, law firms, I can go on, okay? You will find it easier to make multiple millions of dollars, okay? But, majority of people instead try to target the flashy, cool industries, okay? Which, makes them extremely fucking competitive like you wouldn't imagine, okay? High competition, right? So your marketing costs will be sky high because of this, unless you have a super differentiated product or service, which is unlikely, okay? And because of that, you will be competing on price, okay? So do you know how soul crushing it feels when someone tells you, oh, your competitor's product is $5 cheaper than yours, so I'm going to buy that. Okay, you're going to start going bald from the stress, and then you're going to have to book your flight to Turkey to get a fucking hair transplant, okay? So number 2 is demand. Okay? Demand. So, most boring industries are centered around an evergreen need. They rarely change, right? And therefore, their demand is stable. Okay? Very stable. For example, with life insurance, as long as there are people living on this planet that financially support their loved ones, then they will need life insurance. Okay? So, this makes it easier to build a profitable business that keeps growing month after month, since you're not forced to constantly readjust your strategy to account for large shifts in consumer preference. So your marketing costs right here are likely going to be much, much lower. And also there's just less people trying to steal your customers away. Okay. On the other hand, okay, if you want to work in a flashy industry, okay, they are inherently volatile. Okay. So, the problem here is that, most flashy industries have very, very volatile demand due to, fast changing trends and consumer preferences, such as like, I don't know, like dropping a luxury shoe line or releasing a brand new album, right? So, you wouldn't believe how fucking difficult and expensive it is to deal with that, especially as a beginner. So if you have even one collection release or one album release or one product launch, that ends up missing the trend cycle, you could easily lose millions of dollars. Okay, that might be game over for you. But this is also a double-edged sword. Okay, so since flashy industries are extremely, they're driven by virality, right? This can lead to extremely fast growth that you would never witness in the boring industry. But the chances of that being you or me, probably 1 in a million. So I'd rather not take my chances. Okay, number 3. Okay, pricing, right? So this is starting to get into B2B versus B2C. Okay. So B2B is selling to businesses and B2C is selling to consumers. Okay. So if you're not an entrepreneur, then most likely you're only familiar with B2C, right? So that's things like food, clothes, makeup, Rolex watches, Porsches, concert tickets, right, etc. B2B is selling, services, products or services to other businesses to increase their revenue or operational efficiency, right? It sounds pretty unsexy, right? But this is why I think B2B is better for the choice for my goals and for most starting entrepreneurs. Okay, very simple reason. Very, very high prices. Okay, so businesses aren't as price sensitive as consumers. So if I charge a business $25,000 but solve a problem worth $200,000 to them, they will buy every single time. What can you sell for that price in the B2C market besides like cars? And because prices are so high, you can make a fuck ton of money much faster with less operational complexity. So what that means, if 2 businesses each make $100,000 a month, right? Okay, it's easier to run the business that services 5 clients a month at $20,000 each versus the one that services 5,000 customers a month at $20 each, right? So I'm not going to go too much in depth into this concept in this video, but I might make another video in the future diving deeper into why I think B2B is better than B2C for the vast majority of people. If I do, I'll put it up there, but it's pretty self-explanatory, right? So, B2B, higher prices equals a faster path to wealth, okay? And, I am specifically starting a B2B services business, not a product business, okay? And I'm making that distinction on purpose because with the services business, you're selling a skill instead of a tangible item. Okay, so that costs way less money up front and is much more accessible for the majority of people. Okay, so this is how much I'd have to invest upfront capital, right? And then okay, so you can clearly see a difference right here. It's a lot less money up front. Honestly, it should look like this. Okay, way less money up front, and can make a lot of profit from the beginning too, okay? So clearly there's a huge difference in the runway. So, after explaining these 3 reasons, now I hope you can see why this is the best path for me and for most people, okay? But look, I'm not going to do this forever, right? I won't do this forever, right? I'll transition into music and film in, maybe 6 to 10 years, okay? 6 to 10 years, okay? So you might think I'm a hypocrite if I'm telling you that boring businesses are better, okay? But the key difference is the order of my pursuits, right? So this is how most people are going to do it. So, most beginners start in the flashy industries, like people, that are young and have big dreams like me. But most of them also have no real plan, so they fail and then they shift to the boring industries. Okay? I'll do the exact opposite. So, my path ensures that I have the highest chances of success with this first business due to the reasons I mentioned before, which will then give me the capital and the strategic mindset, all while I have 5 to 8 years to build my initial distribution channel, which is you guys, my audience, okay? So, who should follow my path? Now, I know you might not want to hear this, but, I think if you're an artist that and want a shot at a global impact without giving up your soul, this is your best chance to success, okay? I'm not saying that you couldn't possibly succeed without building the boring business first, right? But the odds are heavily stacked against you already, okay? But if you follow my path, the odds are much more in your favor, and you're free to create on your own terms, which is the best part, okay? You don't have to chase your artistic dreams right now when you're very young, inexperienced, and statistically very likely to fail, okay? And I know it feels like, your 20s is when you have to make it happen because, for some reason, everyone thinks that, when you turn 30, you get old and wrinkly and your life is over, which is stupid, okay? So think about it. What would your art look like if you don't have to answer to anyone? If you had complete control, okay? So, I've committed to this path right here because as I've shown you, this is the best way I see forward to retain all 3 levers of control within the time frame that I've set for myself, which is, 5 to 8 years to focus on this business and then 10 to 20 years to pursue my true passions, okay, in life. But, that's all I got for you. I seriously want you to consider your path forward. And if you're willing to, hold off on your dreams now in order to ensure that they'll actually come to life later on. And, you might end up realizing that you love business too and are excited to build a boring business, like me. Because, I can't wait to master sales, marketing, branding, psychology, strategic leadership, recruitment, management, etc. And, of course, to change the lives of the clients that I'm going to serve. And you'd be surprised, how these skills could be the reason that you do or don't achieve success as a creative. And, of course, like this isn't the end all be all, right? That's what'll keep you motivated working on your business. That's how I feel because, I know what the success of this business right here hinges on for my future. And guys, please understand one thing, okay? If you want to build anything actually fucking big, okay, you need to start thinking in decades, right? Not years, okay? Anyone can do something for a year, even 3 years, okay? But very, very few people stick with something for a decade, or in my case, a plan that spans like 2 decades. So if you start thinking in decades, I guarantee your success is inevitable, okay? So, I ask that you join me on this journey. It isn't just my journey. It's a path for anyone who refuses to choose between dreams or survival, okay? This channel is for people who know they deserve both, okay? The machine that prints money and then the financial and time freedom to pursue your biggest fucking desires, okay? This is the path of the entrepreneur artist, which, admittedly seems straightforward, but can get pretty messy. I mean, guys, look at my setup. I mean, I'm holding my dad's shitty whiteboard with his office chair on top of my mom's suitcases. If you ever watch this, Mom, I'm sorry, but I know you love these suitcases, but that's the only thing I could find to prop up on the chair or prop up the chair on, okay? And they're pretty beat up. But yeah, the first step to becoming an entrepreneur artist, okay? Get creative and use what you fucking got, right? And speaking of messy, okay, right now I'm $13,300 in debt. And if you want to know how I fucked up badly enough to get here and why I'm starting a business despite that, then watch my last video, which I'll link somewhere here. Okay. But anyways, that's really it. That's all I have to say. Just follow along and see my 20-year journey. Okay. Watch the next video. Thanks.